Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you represent. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime, and in between time, I'm going to give some shots out to the early birds, starting with dun, dun, dun. God loves you. What's up? Boy, don't the world need a little love right now? That's the only thing that's too little love. Michael, what's up? What's up, Mr. Billy? Tina Walker. Royal Jules. What's up? What's up, Marion Brown? Mario Brown? Moe's Prep and Tech. Tori Gatlin. What's up, Tori? What it do? DC Fly? See, a couple more shout outs and then I'm gone, fam. I'm going to take off. Let's see. What is that? Ant CEO. What's up? What's up? Then we got Kings 87. Peter Rico, North Alabama. What it do, Calvin Johnson? Going in, fam. Going in. Going in, going in, going in. Well, well, well. What do we have here? Yeah. That looks like Bart and Katie. So, if you don't know, let me bring you up to speed. So, Bart is the guy whose name is being yelled in the sinking boat audio connected to the Nolan Wells case. You hear somebody in the background screaming Bart, and then somebody say, "God damn, Bart!" You know, like he messed up. Let's go back to Warren. And hold on, let me show you another picture of Bart. This is Bart, and we'll come back to this picture. But right now, let's focus on this one. And let's take a look at this guy right here right quick, because he plays a pivotal part in this whole storyline. That's Warren Hudson. I personally believe that Warren knows more about this story than anybody, because he was the one that they put out in front to answer questions to the media. He is the one that they put on the Officer Race Tatum show to try to trick us. But remember, he ended up tricking himself because he had zero emotions for this guy he identified as his best friend. I'm talking about best friend. Although he later admitted he had never been to his house, and they've been best friends since middle school. Now, they went through all of middle school, all of high school, and you've never been to your best friend's house in a small town? Ocean Springs ain't that big. But, Warren told on himself on that interview. He thought he was doing something. See, that's the problem with narcissists, fam. Narcissists always think they're smarter than everybody else. Okay? We'll come back to this guy. We'll come back to him. But for now, let's focus on this picture right here. This picture, I actually enhanced this picture because it was blurred. But the guy in the black shirt is being identified as Bart Edmiston. Bart Edmiston. Bart comes from a prominent family in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, where everybody lived, or most of the people that lived that was involved in the crime, I do believe. Now, Bart was the name being yelled out over the phone call, the sinking boat phone call that was made to the Cito company. Remember that? So if we rewind a bit, we kept hearing conversations about this girl named Katie. At first, she was the mystery girl. And then somebody gave a name. And then they said, okay, that's Katie. Okay, Katie. So now this is Katie. This is Katie. And this is Katie, allegedly. They kind of look alike to me. But they're saying that this picture is Katie and this is also Katie. That is Katie with Bart. And then that's Katie superimposed on a picture with Nolan. Don't have a picture of them together. At least one hasn't been produced yet. But that's Nolan Wells. And then next to him is the Katie girl, right? This is the girl that said that she spoke with Nolan before he went missing. She said that she spoke with Nolan briefly on the island, and then he left to go join his buddies back on the boat. Well, the buddies back on the boat, these guys, among others, said that, no, he didn't come back and join us. We didn't see him after he spoke to the girl, Katie, that we didn't see him anymore. But remember, at first, the friends were saying that he left with a girl that he had never met before. And they said they didn't know the girl. They act like they didn't know who the girl was. But the lie detector determined that was a lie. Everybody, it turns out, knows who the girl is because she is connected to this guy, Bart Edmiston, the star football player in the small town of Ocean Springs. Bart is a punter. He now plays for Wyoming. He's in college, but he has NFL aspirations. Now, why is it significant that Bart, who has NFL aspirations, not be involved in this case? Well, I just told you, he got NFL aspirations. So he can't be caught up in a murder mystery. He can't be getting caught up in, even if he is guilty of it, he can't get caught up in something like that. His NFL career would be over. You know how much work these youngsters put in to make it to the NFL? And they say this dude got a boot. They say he can kick it. They say he can kick that ball. So it looks like that he had a good opportunity to make it to the NFL. He's on his way. And it looks like that all of that could be coming to a crashing end if Bart is indeed involved in the death of Nolan Wells. Yeah, man, look at that. Covered by ESPN. Yeah, ESPN ain't just putting any kind of college athlete on their website, especially featuring them. That's not happening. But look at this. This guy, he had 65 punts in the 2025 season. He averaged 46.1 yards. His long was 68. Man, do you know how far that's I mean, what is the record for punts? Let me check out the record for college football punts. Let's see. It looks like, okay, I want to do distance. They say they got a lot of them that has kicked a lot more punts than him, but okay. So, whoa, that's interesting. So in college football history, somebody kicked the punt 99 yards, but that could also mean the ball was rolling too. Not that he kicked it. It was 90, it went from the point of his foot and in the air for 99 yards. Okay. But yeah, so they got people who have kicked the balls 99 yards and 95 yards and all of that kind of stuff, right? But they say this guy has a legitimate shot at making the pros. So this is the college football hometown hero, right? Oh, by the way, I first saw this story on Tissa, I think, is it Tissa Tales? I think that was the name that I saw, Tissa Tales. I think it was Tissa Tales is what I saw. But in any event, I like to give credit where credit is due. Yeah, so Bart is the subject of the Nolan Wells case. He has stepped all the way up to the front. Could it be that Bart is the missing piece? He's the missing link to all of this. If Bart is trying to make it to the NFL, it would explain why Warren, in his interview, was being so protective, and he kept saying, my buddy, instead of Bart. He slipped up one or two times and said Bart. But then he said, my buddy. He kept saying, my buddy after that. It's like he caught himself. See, that's the thing about lying. You got to remember the lie you told. And it's a lot easier to remember the truth than it is a lie. So, could it be that Bart is the missing link? Could it be? This, if he is the missing link, it would explain a lot. We got a lover's quarrel. We got one of the oldest situations in the history and known to mankind. A man loses his life over a woman. Could it be that Bart took Nolan's life because Nolan was pushing up on his woman? Now, for those of you who say, oh man, now you're reaching. Hold on. Wait a minute. Up your brakes. Okay. Remember, Warren said Nolan was cradling Katie. Warren also said that he said something slick to Nolan when he saw Nolan with the girl. But he didn't say the girl's name. He just said he saw him with this girl and he said something slick to him. And, he just he said, I was just joking, And he said, he told Nolan, man, you crazy. He said, dude, you crazy. As if to say, you crazy, man, messing around with this dude's girl, man. You know how that dude is, man. You crazy for doing that. You wild. It has also been revealed that on the 4th of July, this so-called best friend of Nolan Wells was trying to purposely leave Nolan behind at home. They didn't even want Nolan on the trip with them. Perhaps it was because they knew Bart would be there. Maybe they thought or knew Bart would be looking for some trouble. Who knows? Maybe they thought, well, we know Nolan be messing with Katie, and we know Katie is Bart's old squeeze. Don't know if they were still together, supposed to be still together, trying to work it out or what. But at some point, they were in a relationship. Maybe Bart didn't know how to let go, or maybe he got jealous because, oh man, this the coldest one right here, y'all. Maybe Bart got jealous because this white girl that he loved at least once in his life was now involved with a black guy. Oh man, talk about whoo. Talk about having your life turned upside down. Some of these white guys, they be so caught up in that whole white woman dating a black dude thing that, it could drive them crazy. It don't do that to me. When I see black women dating a white dude, I just be like, hey, that's their thing and I'm gone. I don't even comment on it. It ain't my business. If that's what she want, let her have that. That's what she want. But there are white dudes out there, they subscribe to the idea that if a white woman mess with a black dude, that she's now somehow tainted. Never mind all of the murderers and racists, and killers. The rapists and murderers and thieves and abusers that are within the race. They draw the line at a black guy. They draw the line at skin color. The skin color, that's enough for me. Now I'm ready to kill. I wasn't ready to kill because, that guy, hey, he's a woman beater. He beats children. He killed his child. He's a serial killer. He's a rapist. He's a thief. He's a robber. He's everything. And I didn't lose my mind when she dated any of those type of guys. I didn't want to kill her and kill him or nothing. But the black guy, I just can't take it anymore. I want to hurt something. I want to kill something. There are guys out there that are like that. Obviously, not all white dudes are like that. Some white dudes are very secure in their skin. Very secure in their skin. Some white guys that type of thing do not faze them whatsoever. But some of these dudes, it could drive them to kill even if it's not a woman who they're involved with. Even if they're not involved with the woman, it could drive them to kill. So the question is, does Bart join this long list of white guys who just couldn't take the fact that his main squeeze was not involved with a black man, a black boy? That is the theory that is being spread right now. That is the theory that is being examined right now. Was that the case? Was it the case of a scorned lover? Was that the case? Remember, Bart said, man, I've been in Wyoming for the last year. We got reports that Bart was on that island. Why was Bart trying to say that he wasn't on the island if he indeed was on the island? Why not just say, yeah, I was on the island? Unless Coach said you couldn't be on the island. 4th of July, I can't see why you can't go home for the holidays. Independence Day, I can't see why you wouldn't be able to go home. Makes no sense to me. That's Bart right there, doing what he do, kick that ball. Now, here's another thing. It's not just the fact that Bart is trying to make the NFL and he has these aspirations and all this stuff. It's also the fact that Bart, let me get this off the screen. There's Bart right there again. But it's not just the fact that Bart, has these NFL aspirations. His father is a prominent member of Ocean Springs community. He's a medical doctor. Yeah, this is senior. Y'all see that name Memorial? See those colors? Remind you of anything? That's the same hospital that Christine Wansley works for. Christine Wansley is the mother of Nolan Wells. See, this is a very small community. This is one of those communities where everybody know everybody. They say it's tight-knit. Well, it might be tight-knit, but there is a very special racial undercurrent. That's one thing. If it's in Mississippi, if it's a town in Mississippi, I don't care what it looked like on the outside, how pristine or polite that it may appear, that racism is ready to jump in at any moment. Racism be like, yeah. Can't have the good doctor's son being involved in a murder. Can't have that. That's bad business. That's bad for the family image. There are some people out there who don't mind their family members taking a life. They just don't want it to come back on them. They just don't want to be outed. They don't mind raising their children to be racist. They just don't want them to be outed. They don't mind their children getting involved in racist activities. They don't mind them doing blackface, going to college, doing blackface like the governor of Mississippi did. Well, he's accused of hanging out with his fraternity who participated in blackface and also dressed up in Confederate uniforms and took a picture. It's on the internet right now. Look up Governor Tate Reeves and just type in blackface or college photos and you'll see it. So they don't mind that type of stuff. They don't mind participating in racism. They just don't want to be called a racist. My thing is that if you work so hard, if you don't like being called a racist, why do you work so hard to be one? Like if I didn't want to be identified as something, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put myself in that kind of position for people to identify me as such, right? Somebody say he looks like Jerry Lewis. He does look a little like Jerry Lewis. That's crazy. So this is where we are, fam. We have what could possibly be a motive. If indeed the story is true, that this is indeed a picture of Katie and Bart. A lot of times when I say that, when I say if, and I'm a good 99% sure, but that 1% will keep me from saying it is, just because, you got to kind of, protect yourself from liabilities, because you know how these people are. They like to gaslight, they can be guilty of something. And if you say that they're guilty of something without actually proving it, or it already have been proven, they start playing the victim. Experts at creating chaos and playing the victim. Yeah, that's what Mississippi residents are doing right now. That's what Cold Springs residents are doing right now. That's what the police department is doing. That's what the governor is doing. The coroner's office, they're gaslighting because they don't want anybody knowing what's really going on in Mississippi. They're gaslighting. They don't want anybody knowing what's going on. That's why that boy Trayston said, we're a tight-knit community and you don't know who you're messing with and all that stuff. Hold on, man. Tight-knit community sound like a pleasant, loving type of environment. That don't sound gangster. He was sounding a little gangster. He had his hands folded and stuff. He was like really, really mad that the family was seeking justice. I mean, you got a grieving mother and father, and they're looking for answers as to what happened to their son, and the math ain't mathing. So you want them to just shut up and just suffer in silence, as opposed to seeking all of the aid that they can gather. That's that Mississippi arrogance. That's that arrogance where when you're so used to getting away with things and doing things the way that you want to do it. It don't matter what the law say. You get to do whatever you want to do because you got the power to do it. They're so used to doing things the way that they want to do it. I think that there's a great possibility that with all of this evidence, they will continue to ignore it and act like Nolan Wells just mysteriously drowned. Like he just maybe snapped his finger and ended up in the pool dead, ended up in the body of water dead. The only thing about that is, even if he just snapped his finger and disappeared, with all of those people around, somebody would have had to see him disappear. They can't find one person who saw Nolan slip, bump his head, roll off into the water. They can't find one person who saw Nolan dive into the water. Hundreds of people on the island, hundreds. And they couldn't find one person amongst all those white people who saw one black guy. Out of all the people that was on the boat and around and in the island, the black guy gonna stand out the most. Even if you ain't trying to see the black guy, you gonna see the black guy. It's like a white person in the sea of black people. The white person gonna stand out. Every move the white person make, you're gonna see it from your peripheral because that person stands out. Even if you ain't trying to watch his movement, you're gonna see him because he stands out. So they're trying to gaslight us, trying to shame us, trying to call us grifters and exploiters and this and that. That ain't gonna work over here, man. None of that work. It ain't never worked with me. From the first time I came into the business, look it up, 1989, controversy. There's a song on there called F the KKK. I stood on that. Before me, nobody ever made a song like that. I did that and stood on it and went to Middle America and performed it and had a whole sea of white people saying F the KKK. There's another song on there called Do It Like a Geo. I said that, I stood on it. So when I believe that I'm right, man, I can back it up. I'll stand on it. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But right here, I know, man, something ain't right about this case. There are too many inconsistencies. There's too much stuff that do not add up. And you want people to just ignore it. See, let me tell you something, fam. For any of y'all out there who might be wanting to ignore it, especially if you're a member of a marginalized group. Just know that eventually the bully is going to make his way to you. Go back to high school, go back to middle school, elementary. Anytime you can, go back to the neighborhood. Anytime you've watched a bully at work, the bully eventually gets bored of bullying the same old person over and over and over again, and they expand the bullying. They expand their bullying empire. Eventually, they're going to make their way to you. And what you going to do when that happens? It will happen. So the goal right here for supporting Nolan Wells and his family in seeking justice is to make it that much more untempting for the next person to want to try something like that and think they're going to get away with it. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be consequences and repercussions. The only reason why this person did what they did, these people did what they did, is because there is a system that protects them from acts like this. It ain't that they're tough. They ain't hard. They ain't none of that. They're banking on the system protecting them when they step out there. It's like the Karen. Karen ain't hard. Karen ain't nothing tough about no. Do you even pay attention to the shape of most of these Karens? Most of these damn Karens, man, what they call those things? Most of Karens built like dragon fruits. They ain't gonna push a butt duck in the pond. But they got a bunch of mouth. And they got a trigger finger to call the police. And that's what they're banking on. They're banking on weaponizing the police against you. That's what they bank on. They're not tough at all. Take the police out of the equation and you ain't got no Karens. They're non-existent. Because they know if they would know what come with that. Ain't none of these dudes hard. None of these Jack Lane dudes, none of these Proud Boy, ain't none of them hard like that. They're banking on people like Trump granting them immunity, commuting their sentence if they do get caught up, granting them a pardon. They're banking on things like that. They're banking on the police, weaponizing the police. They behave this way because there is no consequences. So when you change it with the consequences, their behavior will change. I do believe that some of these people grow up and at some point somebody tell them that they're better and that these people over here don't matter. They don't count, and you have a birthright to be over them. You have a birthright to be better than them. So when they fall short, when their conscience start messing with them, when their self-esteem start betraying them, it makes them angry. That's why the Karens, a lot of times people try to understand, man, why do these people continue to mess with black folks when even in their own neighborhoods, you're pulling up on a black person, standing in front of their own house, checking their own mailbox, sitting in their yard, walking on their own apartment complex, pulling up to the gate at their own apartment complex. Why is it that these people go out of their way to inject themselves in black folks' lives? especially in their neighborhoods. That is because a lot of them feel that because of the color of their skin, they should be doing better than you. You shouldn't be able to afford to live where they live. That's what it really comes down to. They think you shouldn't be able to afford to live where they live. So they get angry. And they go to running that trap. And they got the police on speed dial, just in case you get a little bit too aggressive. And some of them don't mind shooting because they're banking on the judicial system giving them a pass. There are too many people involved in this particular crime for them to get away. You got at least 6 or 7 males. You got 2, 3 girls involved. All of them got boyfriends and girlfriends, are gonna have boyfriends and girlfriends and wives and husbands down the line. They got siblings. Some of them got siblings. Some of them got other best friends. It is impossible to keep a secret like this forever. It is impossible. And death, murder has no statute of limitation. Somebody gonna tell the truth. Somebody gonna tell the whole story. Now, I'm appealing to any one of y'all out there that know the truth. Go on, be first, man, and get that money. It's $125,000 on the line, man. Go on, get that money. You may as well get the money than to get nothing and then tell your story. Because whoever tells the story first is going to drag you in. If you know the story, they're going to drag you into the story too. I'm talking about the principles, the primary principles. So if you were involved, if you were there, you saw something, you better go ahead on and be the first one to speak. Whoever speaks first going to get that money. Might as well get something out of it. If you're going to have to go to court anyway, you're going to get subpoenaed. Might as well be the first one to get that money, cash in. Can't really appeal to your humanity because you've been holding a secret that long. That tells me you ain't really got none. You ain't got no heart. You have no empathy. You're incapable of that. So I'm going to appeal to what you know. Money. You know money and you know blood. For some people, that's all they respect, money and blood. So we ain't trying to get it in blood. Come on, get your check, man. Come on, get your check. Bart, is that you? Is that you, Bart? Did you do something to Nolan Wells, Bart? Was that you, Bart? Bart, I want you to know, if you was involved in Nolan Wells' death, your football career is over. You ain't never going to the NFL. NFL don't want this type of heat. What team gonna draft you? What team gonna pick you up in the free agency? They don't want this type of heat. If it is revealed that Bart actually has something to do with the murder of Nolan Wells, his career is over. One of these dudes, or all of these dudes, know exactly what happened to Nolan Wells. Know exactly what happened to Nolan Wells. He didn't just disappear. He didn't just vanish. He didn't just end up floating in the water. Somebody killed him. Bart, if you got anything to do with it, Bart, you will never, ever, ever be the same. Your family ain't gonna be the same. You ain't gonna be kicking footballs anymore. The only thing you're gonna be kicking is rocks. You can kiss that football career goodbye. Somebody know. Somebody know the truth. And what's done in the dark will come to light. No more talk.